Chapter 11. Shara took the remote control lying on the desk and turned on the TV. She quickly found the channel she was looking for. A female reporter, speaking in a tense, urgent voice, announced that the police still had no suspects regarding the 3 kidnappings that had occurred. However, they had now received aid from London. And that wasn't all. The reporter knew the name of the officer sent to assist. And they had a picture. How the hell did she find out? Shara nearly shouted into Gabe's phone, gripping it so tightly her knuckles turned white. How do you think? Gabe replied, his tone dry but edged with frustration. Shara lowered the phone, her grip tightening as she turned to Matthew. He had risen from his chair, staring at the screen as if willing it to disappear. His face drained of colour as he inhaled sharply, his chest rising and falling in quick, shallow breaths. How dumb can you be? Shara asked, forcing herself to keep her voice even, though her entire body tensed with the urge to slam him against the wall. Every muscle in her body coiled with restrained fury. What are you talking about? Matthew shot back, his voice defensive as he reached for the remote and switched off the TV as if that could erase the damage. Shara? Andrew's confused voice cut through the tension, but she ignored him, her eyes locked on Matthew. What do you think I mean? She took a step closer, her piercing gaze locking onto him like a predator sizing up prey. Matthew didn't answer. His breathing grew heavier, his shoulders rising and falling with each strained breath. He took a step back, eyes darting toward the window as though looking for an escape. No. She can't know. That's impossible. I was careful. Matthew, what's going on? Andrew asked, standing now, his expression dark with suspicion, his fingers curling into a fist at his side. Nothing. How should I know? Matthew's voice was quick, sharp, defensive, rehearsed. Nothing? Shara echoed, but her voice had lost its fire. Now it was something else, cold, eerily controlled, a slow, contemptuous smile curled onto her lips as she regarded him. You really are a fool, aren't you? You don't know what you're talking about, Matthew snapped, his voice cracking. His entire body was rigid, his nerves stretched to the breaking point. Shara's smile didn't falter. She tilted her head slightly, studying him like an insect caught under a magnifying glass. Really? Don't tell me you actually believed everything she told you. She took another step forward, lowering her voice to a taunting whisper. What did she say? That she loves you? We love each other, Matthew said stubbornly, but his voice lacked conviction. The words sounded weak even to his own ears. You stupid human, Shara muttered, her disgust barely veiled as she turned away. She had almost forgotten she was still holding the phone. Without another word, she walked out of the office, her boots clicking against the floor. Andrew turned on Matthew the moment she was gone. Matthew, did you leak the case details to Eleanor? It's not what you think, Matthew murmured, rubbing his temples as he sank onto the chair, looking suddenly exhausted, like a man who had just run out of excuses. Andrew's voice hardened. And what is it, then? His anger was rising now, sharp and unrelenting. I didn't tell her anything important, Andrew. She just wanted to understand what was happening. I trust her. Andrew exhaled slowly, shaking his head. What about Miriam? Matthew hesitated, then let out a heavy breath. Things haven't been going well for a while now, Andrew. We don't understand each other anymore. Andrew scoffed. So you ran straight into the arms of a... He caught himself, stopping just before the words left his mouth. The last thing he needed was to hurl insults. He exhaled sharply. Why did you give her information about the case, Matthew? You know we couldn't release anything to the press yet. There was no valuable information to give. Matthew tried to defend himself, his voice wavering now, quieter, weaker. Andrew stared at him. No valuable information. His voice was like ice. We have nothing because we have no leads. But what if we did? What if we had a witness, a clue? Would you have given her that too? You're being unfair, Andrew. You know I would never endanger the investigation. Andrew let out a hollow laugh, shaking his head. Honestly, I don't know what to believe anymore. He sank into his chair, the room growing eerily silent around them. Finally, Andrew broke the quiet. You'll have to tell the boss you're dropping the investigation. Matthew's head snapped up. What? You're compromised, Matthew. You can't work this case anymore. Andrew, you can't do this to me. Not after everything we've been through these past years. Andrew's voice remained steady. Matthew, I don't trust you anymore. I can't work with you. Not on this case. Matthew let out a bitter laugh. You don't trust me anymore? He repeated the words, shaking his head. But you trust her? How do you know she's not playing you? Have you even considered how strange she is? The way she acts? How secretive she is? How did she even know about me and Elena? He leaned forward, desperation creeping into his voice. I'm telling you, Andrew, Shara is not what she seems. We're not talking about her right now, Matthew, Andrew replied coldly. We're talking about you. I see, Matthew scoffed. A man makes one mistake and his best friend turns his back on him. This isn't the first time, Matthew. You promised it wouldn't happen again. Matthew's jaw tightened. Well, I'm not giving up the case. You will, Andrew said firmly, because if you don't, I'll go to the captain and tell him everything myself. Matthew stared at him, his jaw clenched, anger simmering just beneath the surface. You wouldn't do that, he said, voice low. Would you? Andrew sighed, rubbing the bridge of his nose. Look, Matthew, I'm giving you a way out. Step away from the case. Tell the captain you need time off for personal reasons. A couple of weeks, nothing more. If you don't, I'll have to go to him myself. Matthew held his gaze for several long moments, searching for any sign of hesitation. There was none. Finally, he muttered under his breath, I guess I never really knew you, huh? Without another word, he turned and stormed out of the office, slamming the door behind him. Andrew sat there for a moment, staring at the door, the tension still crackling in the air. He exhaled heavily, rubbing his temples. For the first time in ages, he was completely unsure of his next move.